Hello, welcome to the Vineyard, a gentleman's guide to the life, art, and works of one Vincent Diesel. Today we are talking about a very, very special movie to my heart and to all of our hearts, The Iron Giant. What do you think of The Iron Giant?
Is that how we...
Oh, the wine pairing.
Let's drink.
Today's wine pairing for the Iron Giant, brought to you by Blendings Winery, is a Blackberry Merlot. It was described to us as sweet, gentle, kind. I think that fits the film. Thanks, Blendings Winery.
What a great wine pairing.
Delicious wine
It
pairing.
is really, really good wine.
Probably
Could
the best
not
wine I've
recommend
ever
well
had.
enough.
It's absolutely spectacular wine.
Yeah. So anyways, Iron Giant,
Directed by Brad Bird.
directed by Brad Bird, based on a short story by Ted Hughes.
Is that right?
Yeah. Ted Hughes wrote it to console his children after the death of their mother, Sylvia Plath. So there's this, it has this weirdly deep connection to the literary world, which I never knew. I also learned in researching for this movie that the lead singer of The Who, Pete Townshend, read the story and wrote a musical
The what?
called The Iron Man, the Musical.
Iron Man the musical?
Yeah.
Robert Downey Jr. Tony
Well,
Stark?
the first version of the story was called The Iron Man.
Look at that.
It switched to The Iron Giant for American audiences.
Iron Man. Well, I mean, the Iron Giant does make a lot more sense. He's not the size of a man.
It's true.
Not a man I know.
So they made numerous changes. The story is also wonderful. It's available for free online if you ever would be inclined to read it. But one of the changes they made is instead of setting it in coastal England, they decided to set it in Maine, and they decided to make it a movie about the Cold War. Instead of the much more fantastical, much more kind of dreamlike quality of the short story that it's based on.
Was there a representation, having not read the short story, was there a representation of the Iron Giant? What was the source of the Iron Giant?
There was an Iron Giant. There was a giant metal man that comes from the clouds and befriends a boy named Hogarth.
Sure.
But that's about as far as the similarities go.
Oh, okay, so it wasn't allegorical in that sense.
No. It was much more kind of a larger story about war, and it involves the Iron Giant challenging a dragon to a duel of who can withstand scorching heat for longer. And the Iron Giant wins, and thus saves the entire Earth from a dragon about the size of Australia.
It's extremely cool in about 16 directions.
Yeah, but they didn't make that movie.
And I'm a little sad about that in this moment, but we're just gonna carry on.
They made a very focused, very personal story. I was reading reviews about this movie, and a lot of them compared it to Ghibli films.
I could see that.
Because it is so invested in kind of the daily life and the average experience of this kid.
Yeah, it's not a movie that's focused on plot. It's not a movie that is dead set on getting anywhere, which I really appreciate. You don't see that a lot in children's movies these days.
Yeah, and did you know this movie was also a commercial bomb?
Is that right?
Yeah, it cost $50 million to make, and it only made back $30 million because it wasn't marketed until mere days leading up to the release of the movie.
Really? I feel in my heart that there's a lesson there to be learned, and perhaps that's what we'll talk about in what we learned about ourselves or art.
Yeah.
But the lesson that I'm just gonna kind of get ahead of here, sometimes things are incredible and you release them and people don't watch them.
Yeah, just like Strays.
It's just like...
So, obviously we need to talk about Vin Diesel's presence in this movie. We've talked a lot about the creation of the movie and the circumstance surrounding it. Vin Diesel does not have as big of a presence as I kind of imagined he would.
Significantly smaller. He has more of a presence in the Guardians of the Galaxy films than he does in this.
I would say for sure.
I will slightly counter. I think his presence in this is more touching, especially than the original Guardians. It might be, maybe there's an argument to be made for the third. But I think what he brings to this is unique. And for that reason, I watched the movie and kind of thought, should we be doing this? Like, he's not really in it that much. But I really do, I think there's a lot to be said about Vin Diesel in this.
Yeah. I also think that I like the Iron Giant almost as an allegory for how Vin Diesel sees himself.
How do you mean?
Reading interviews and listening to him talk about how he approached the role of the Iron Giant, it seemed like he had a lot of personal connection to this idea of this incredibly, like a big, intimidating figure who was very gentle at heart and didn't want to harm people, but found himself getting judged, which is the third time we've seen this theme pop up in his work.
It's true. Also interesting that he sang the Tin Man song, and now he plays the Tin Man, but big.
A giant Tin Man.
Huge.
So I thought that was a really good, a really fun kind of stream into Vin Diesel's life and filmography here.
That is interesting. I think there's something to be noted there. Just the idea that a lot of actors will just take on roles to take on roles. From what I've actually genuinely learned about Vin Diesel, he is not a guy to just take on a role to make some money. He genuinely cares about what he's doing and what roles he chooses to take on, which makes this a lot more interesting. I think there's a lot of people that you could not really make the argument for, oh, well, what did this role mean to him? I think Vin is actually one of the people that you really can assess that from a genuine perspective of what did he see in this that made him want to take on it.
And I think especially at this stage of his career where he's done Saving Private Ryan, he's kind of broke into the mainstream in a lot of ways.
He's already made a feature film. He could be continuing to be features.
It's really cool that he was already really intentional about the kind of roles that he was. And to be in a kind of smaller scale, a very kind of thoughtful, very touching animated film, I think speaks a lot to the kind of projects that he cares about and the kind of image he wanted to have at this stage of his life.
It's very interesting. There's a through line in his career that we'll get to a lot more later on of children and being someone who is a caretaker, which is really interesting because I don't know, at least that I'm aware of, whether or not he has kids.
I have no idea.
If he doesn't, and I know by the time he was making Iron Giant, he didn't. It's interesting to see that start to flower, start to develop. He has this protective nature. He has this side to him that really cares.
Yeah. So
What did you think of the Iron Giant as a whole?
my experience with the Iron Giant, I had seen it years and years ago on a 12-inch CRT TV off of a videotape while I had 108-degree fever at a summer camp.
As Mr. Bird intended.
Yes, of course. And I watched it 3 or 4 times because it was one of 3 VHS tapes that were in the room with me.
Do you remember the other?
Yeah, one was the Veggie Tales with Madame Blueberry and the Big Tree House.
Sure.
And the other one was Flubber, starring Robin Williams.
Well, we can't blame you.
So you can imagine why I chose the Iron Giant over and over again in every time I got the choice. And watching it again as an adult, it is just such a sincere, such a sweet movie. And I like that they treat the characters in a really realistic way. Like Hogarth is a kid, and so he's bad at lying. I love that he's trying to pull off this large-scale deception, and he cannot lie to save his life. I love that his mom is kind of frazzled and frustrated and busy, but not too busy that she doesn't care for her child. It seems very real and honest to the characters' perspectives, all the way down to the government agent. I can't remember his name right this second.
I'm gonna call him Derek.
Sure. The FBI agent, who's definitely not named Derek.
Agent Derek.
Agent Derek, is also pursuing his goals. And as kind of malicious and scary and creepy he can be, there's still this side where you understand the desperation that he feels.
Sure, yeah.
And so I was moved by the movie. I felt like I believed the journey, and I felt for the Iron Giant himself. I felt for him not understanding his purpose and kind of being given the purpose by the love of this kid. And I think one of my favorite things of the movie is that it's not a story about how humans corrupt and corrode and destroy due to their greed. It's about how humans could take something designed for war and through displaying kind of unconditional, irrational love for it can bring that to reality.
Which is usually not what you see in this kind of movie.
No.
Normally it's take like an E.T. You see humans being the problem and the alien trying to spread love.
So
interesting.
I really like this perspective of, no, humans have this deep capacity for empathy and for caring for others.
Now, you mentioned earlier you were moved by the movie, and that just makes me wonder, is that why they call him that?
No, I think it's because the pictures move.
The pictures move.
Yeah, the pictures move.
Like on their walls?
On the walls, the pictures move. When you project it on the wall, the pictures
The walls
move.
in their family home?
No, the family moves.
The family moves.
Yeah, and the Iron Giant moves.
My family didn't move.
They don't move during the film, but they do move throughout the film.
Oh. My thoughts on this movie were, I had never seen the film.
Really?
I'd never
Okay,
once
yeah,
seen it.
I need to hear your response now.
And I kind of put it off because I thought it was going to be, it's a nice way of saying boring, dull. I thought it was going to be dull. I expected this to be something.
That is a meaner way of saying boring.
Oh, terrible. I thought this was going to, is that better?
Just continue.
Okay. I thought this was going to be a straight dookie. But it wasn't. The thing that was most impressive about this movie to me is that I had set it up in my mind as this thing that was going to be a little boring, a little bit just not exciting, not something that I was going to really engage with because it's a little bit older. I had known Brad Bird, but only as the director of The Incredibles, so I figured, okay, other things he's made, probably not as good. You never know. And then I watched the movie, and I was 100% taken by it. It absolutely floored me. This is something that I am so glad I own on this beautiful DVD 720p production. Only slightly better, I would say, than your horrific nightmare hellscape of being sick, not just life.
Oh, yeah.
But the thing that stuck out to me most from this movie is that it is so dead set on being sweet and on being exactly what it wants to be. It's the opening scene where we actually meet Hogarth in the diner is hilarious. There's a character, Dean, who I really expected to be set up as this kind of just horrible guy. Really, I thought there was going to be some kind of third act twist where he ended up selling them out. Then he was going to have to apologize in classic children's movie form. Then he ended up just being an absolute sweetheart. And that is genuinely rewarding to me to watch this movie, be taken by it, really care about it, and also care so little about the Iron Giant himself. Not that I didn't care, but just my takeaway was not, yeah, Iron Giant was cool. My takeaway was these people, this world is interesting, and also there was a big Iron Man.
Yeah, I feel like Iron Giant is more, the character Iron Giant is more of a foil and a reflection of everybody else.
Yeah.
Because in Hogarth, he embodies this kind of free, naive spirit that just wants to have fun and wants to play, and wants to try out new things. And in like the eyes of the government and the townspeople, he embodies the kind of Cold War paranoia that the movie also gets at. And in Dean, he embodies the kind of, metal creations that he spent his whole life trying to make.
Yeah.
So I can agree, but I don't think that's unintentional.
Oh, I don't think so at all. I just think it's very impressive and something that I had written the movie off for not being. I will say it is very interesting, just bringing it back to Vin Diesel.
Yeah.
It's very interesting to see, there's some behind the scenes stuff on the way that he approached making this movie and what he cared about, which, to spoil a little bit, or maybe perhaps we'll just dive in, my own personal vignette from the film.
Yeah, just go ahead.
Is the special feature where he has this incredible wicked soul patch, and he's talking about how much he cares about making this movie and how much he wanted to be in an animated movie, which I think is wonderful.
Yeah.
Because he had not achieved his dream of being movie star to the point, and yet he still wanted to branch out and try something new.
That's amazing. Yeah, I'm trying to think about my favorite vignette. I would say I gotta go with the classic, when the Iron Giant decides to sacrifice himself to save the townspeople.
Beautiful. Which, before we dive into that real quick, can we just note that the design of the Iron Giant as he's becoming this weapon of war is rad.
Goes from adorable and very endearing and approachable to absolutely terrifying.
Horrifying and in an Invaders from Mars kind of way.
Yeah, in this deeply inhuman, impersonal sort of way.
It's so cool.
That is incredibly effective. You really see. We're of course talking about the scene where Iron Giant thinks that he's lost Hogarth. His defense mechanisms activate inside him. He had been resisting the kind of call to war and the call to arms, and he gives in and kind of goes on this rampage as this indestructible, terrifying monster.
Yeah.
And yeah, it is genuinely quite frightening.
It really is. And also beautiful. This whole movie is just gorgeous.
Yeah, the line work is excellent. The color is really soft and it's muted, but it's not desaturated.
No, the lighting is beautiful.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful film.
So my favorite vignette is obviously Iron Giant deciding to sacrifice himself. I won't lie, it did bring a tear to my eye.
A tear. I was made of them.
Yeah, several tears to my eye. And it really was such a pure expression of what feels like a trope in kids' movies, is the noble self-sacrifice at the end.
It really does.
But this is a movie that feels like it really earned it. It feels like everything had been leading up to this moment, and you feel for the Giant's naivete, and you feel for his innocence kind of being broken in this moment, but you feel for that even with his lack of understanding about the world, what he knows is that he can go save people.
Yeah.
And the movie has established that he knows what death means, and he knows that he might not come back, but he's willing to do it anyways. And I think it's just, there really aren't very many kids' movies that actually go that far.
No, nor are there many that bring it back right at the end. And I feel genuinely happy about it. Most of the time that happens, and I go, yeah, of course that's what you're gonna do. It's nice to see something that I had always heard that this ended sad. This does not end sad. This
it ends happy.
On a bittersweet note, but happy generally speaking.
What did it teach you, Jon, about Vin Diesel?
The thing that it taught me about Vin Diesel really is just, this is the start of him diversifying his portfolio a little bit. He did the indie drama, he did the epic war picture, and he was gonna do whatever Steven Spielberg asked him to do, but he happened to be in this big war picture. And now here he is branching out a little bit, getting a completely different demographic, which is a thing that movie stars used to do. It is a classical mentality of how to be a movie star, which is just hit the 4 quadrants, hit all the demographics, the things, the groups of people that might not have already seen you in a movie, be in one of their movies, and then you will become a movie star if you're good enough and if people like you. And I think Vin was smart enough to know that he had to do that. He comes from an old school world.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see him kind of doing that. I think we'll see that later with the pacifier as well.
I think I learned that he cannot help but try to see himself in every project that he makes.
Interesting.
And I really like that in an actor. I don't think there's very many people, there's lots of people that say they can find some of themselves in a role, but I don't think there's many that every single role they feel determined to find themselves inside it. And it is genuinely making me a fan of Vin Diesel.
It really is. You know who else does that? Jared Leto.
Yes, he does. Make of that what you will. So John, what did it teach you about cinema in general?
Cinema in general, I think, don't judge a book by its age. That's what I'm going to say. This is a movie that I thought was going to be bad. I said that before. It was incredible. If you haven't seen The Iron Giant, first of all, crazy that you're here watching this. Second of all,
You should have watched it a long time ago.
Well, you should have seen it, unless you're 4, in which case, prime audience, this is about the time to start watching The Iron Giant. And if you're 4, why are you? Anyway, The Iron Giant is a movie that you should absolutely watch. What did it teach you about cinema?
It taught me that there's always been problems with marketing movies, and there's always been cases when studios don't understand what they have on their hands.
It is a shame that this didn't make a lot of money, and yet, in another sense, I'm so glad we don't have an Iron Giant 3, Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah, it is really, it is in some ways really tragic that the studio didn't really see how great this movie was, and I think if they had paid it any attention at all, it would have been obvious, because this movie is so patently well crafted and so patently touching and so obviously moving.
And wildly marketable, too.
Yeah. So yeah, it taught me that in many ways the cinema landscape has changed, but not in that way, that there always is this disconnect between studios and the people that actually make movies.
Beautiful. What would you say it taught you about life?
What it taught me about life is that it is wrong to kill.
Oh.
But it's not wrong. John, are you gonna be okay? What do you need? What do you need?
A reading.
A reading. We'll be back.
From the Word.
No!
One.
It was the Word.
Oh, the
John,
Word.
the Word healed you.
As it will heal you, too. Fueled for success. What did this teach you about life?
What this taught me about life is that it is wrong to kill, but it is not wrong to die.
Wow. Thank you for joining us on The Vineyard. This has been an absolute joy. Please join us next episode, week, 2 weeks, however we decide to release these, as we are going to be discussing someone's favorite movie,
The Boiler Room.
We'll be right back.